Ladies and gentlemen, tonight allow me to invite you back to ancient Europe, to a time when castles were still wrapped in mist and the clash of iron hooves and bronze swords still echoed through cold, shadowy forests. There, in a small kingdom, nestled between snowy mountain ranges and icy rivers, lived a king named Leopold III. History remembers him as a stern, decisive ruler who led his country out of chaos and expanded its borders. But few people know that there was a period in his life when Leopold almost lost his own soul, simply because he looked down on small things. And it was thanks to one simple teaching, very similar to the Buddha's words: do good, even if it is small. Do not do evil, even if it is small, that this king turned back, saving not only his kingdom, but also his own heart. From a young age, Leopold had been taught, a king must think of great matters. What are great matters? Prince Leopold once asked his father. Borders, gold and silver, armies, the things people will carve into history. The small stuff, let the soldiers and the common folk worry about that. From then on, one belief was carved deep into the young prince's mind. Only great matters are important. Small matters are not worth my concern. When he ascended the throne, Leopold truly became a great matters king. He crushed an uprising at the border. He signed trade treaties with neighboring countries. He expanded the granaries and raised new fortresses. The courtiers praised him. Your Majesty is a wise and enlightened king. Your name will be carved into stone. But beneath all the applause, something was quietly cracking, starting from small, nameless things. One day during court, an elderly minister knelt and spoke. Your Majesty, I humbly ask to report a small matter in the rural south. Leopold frowned. What matter? Sire, the people of Branken village are complaining about the new tax overseer. He has been collecting extra road fees and protection fees, forcing many households to sell their fields. Leopold waved his hand. Taxes are a small issue. My officials can handle it. My great concern is the Western Front. You may withdraw. The old minister silently backed away. In Leopold's eyes at that moment, a few coins of tax, a few broken roofs, were nothing compared to the lines of border on his maps. As long as the treasury is full and the army is fed, everything is fine, he thought. He did not know that this was the first time in his life he ignored a small matter, for which he would later pay a very heavy price. After that court session, the new official in the south, Count Hermann, became even more brazen. He was clever and knew how to say exactly what the king wanted to hear. I will help your Majesty fill the granaries and strengthen the army if only you grant me a bit more authority. With royal favor behind him, Hermann ordered his subordinates to add more minor fees to the taxes, force peasants to sell their land cheaply, make those who were late paying work in forced labor. One winter's day, a thin peasant woman and her child stood shivering at the castle gate, asking to see the king. We only wish to beg your Majesty to reconsider the taxes. My family has already sold all our fields. The guards drove them away. The king handles affairs of state. This sort of thing, go see a local official. Mother and child looked up at the high stone walls, where the kingdom's flag whipped in the wind. They had no idea that up there, the king in whom they placed all their faith could not hear their faint, pleading voices. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Leopold was passionately arguing with his general. We must reinforce the border. If not, next year the northern barbarians will pour down on us and the kingdom will fall. The king was not wrong, but because he only saw the great matters, he failed to see that. Those small evils, a few coins of tax, a few beatings, a few lives crushed, were building into a hidden, powerful wave. One year, news arrived from the western border. Your Majesty, a caravan of merchants from distant eastern lands is requesting an audience. They bring goods, silk, spices, and also books. Leopold, who loved books, agreed to meet them. In the great hall, the leader of the merchant caravan bowed. I come from the east, Your Majesty. On our journey, by chance we met an old wandering ascetic. He did not travel with us, but he asked that we deliver something to you. An ascetic? Leopold frowned. A sage? A monk? He only said he was a seeker of truth. This is a letter and a book he wished to give your Majesty. The king received an old, worn book covered in strange characters, along with a translated text the merchants had brought. On the first page, there was a sentence written in Latin. Every great evil begins as a very small evil. Every great good begins as a very small good. Do good, even if it is small. Do not do evil, even if it is small. Leopold smirked slightly. The teaching of some Eastern sage, is it? Sounds nice. But I am a king. I don't have time to dwell on trivial things. Even so, that night in his private chamber, he opened the book. Inside were strange short tales. A boy who told small lies and later ignited a war. A man who once helped an old woman on the road and was later saved by an entire village in his time of danger. Leopold read for a while, then shut the book. Moral tales for common folk. I rule a nation. I cannot afford to be weak over such petty things. He placed the book on a shelf among rolls of scrolls on strategy, taxation, and treaties. And there it lay, slowly gathering dust. One year, winter dragged on unnaturally long. Snow fell thick. The barley crop failed. In Branken village, the heavily taxed village, people were so hungry that some families boiled tree bark just to get through the day. Old people collapsed and died by the roadside because they no longer had the strength to beg for porridge. Count Hermann still forced them to pay full taxes. Law is law. If they don't pay, we seize their homes and fields. A young man named Thomas, whose father had died in the cold, whose wife lay ill with a baby crying from hunger, snapped, "If they think our lives are worth nothing, then we've got nothing left to lose." From whispered words in taverns, from small secret gatherings in stables, a spark of rebellion flared up. They attacked the Count's granary, burned a tax outpost, seriously injured several soldiers. Bad news rushed back to the capital. "Your Majesty, the southern region has rebelled." Leopold slammed his hand on the table. "Rebel? We gave them land and laws. What more do they want? Send troops to crush them immediately." The general asked, "Should we fight to the bitter end or subdue them and then negotiate?" Leopold replied coldly, "If they dare burn a noble's granary today, tomorrow they'll dare burn the capital. They must learn that defying the crown is a grave crime." The army marched south. Flames rose from thatched roofs. Screams, children's cries, old people wailing to the heavens rang out through a long, terrible night. The uprising was crushed. Count Hermann came to court and knelt. "Thanks to your Majesty's decisiveness, the South is peaceful again." Leopold looked at the report in front of him. 21 dead, 35 wounded, 5 homes burned, 3 leaders hanged. He only let out a sigh. They shouldn't have pushed things so far, still unaware that that fire began from tiny sparks he himself had let pass. Sometime later, Leopold decided to tour the borders and inspect the people's condition. The royal entourage passed through the southern region, where the uprising had been. Villagers stood at a distance, not daring to approach. That day, it was bitterly cold, snow blanketing the fields. Leopold dismounted, looking around. Suddenly, he saw a boy of about 10, eyes red, holding a dry stick, staring at him with a burning gaze. "Who is that boy?" Leopold asked. A nervous official replied, "Your Majesty, he is the son of one of the 3 ringleaders in the rebellion. His father was hanged in the field behind the village. At that very moment, the boy spat on the snow and walked away. A small gesture, but it cut into the king's heart like a blade." That night, Leopold could not sleep. In the temporary tent, he suddenly remembered the old book. "Do not do even a very small evil, for it is like tiny drops of ink falling into a cup of clear water." He asked himself, "Have I done any small evils? I only crushed a rebellion to restore order." But another voice in his heart answered, "What about the children who lost their fathers? The homes burned to ash? Are they simply the price to pay for your great matters?" Leopold held his head in his hands. For the first time, he felt afraid of himself. That night, while the entourage slept, he walked outside the camp. Soon, he saw a small fire beyond the village. An old man in a worn cloak, slightly hunched, sat warming himself by the flames. Beside him was a long staff with small bundles tied to it. Leopold, in the simple cloak of a traveling king without crown or royal insignia, approached. "Who are you, old man?" Leopold asked. "Just a traveler," the old man smiled. "And you?" "I am also just a traveler tonight." The old man looked at him for a moment, eyes as if used to seeing through people. "You are a traveler who carries the scent of power." Leopold started. The old man chuckled. "Don't worry. The night is cold. The fire is warm. Sit down." Leopold sat by the flames, silent for a while before asking, "Are you some kind of sage?" "I am merely an old man who has heard many stories. Do you have one you wish to tell?" Leopold watched the flames, then slowly spoke. "Do you believe that a whole kingdom can fall into chaos because of a single small thing? The old man replied, "I don't just believe it, I have seen it." Seen it? Where? In the East, in the West. In places where one hasty signature, one rushed order, one time turning a blind eye to a small evil, slowly grew into war. Leopold felt as if someone had just told his own story back to him. He asked, "And what about a small good deed? Can it save anything?" The old man looked at the snow underfoot. "Do you see how thick the snow lies? I do. Each snowflake is tiny, but millions of them cover an entire field. Goodness works the same way. Don't wait for a grand, heroic deed to begin doing good. Sometimes life never gives us a chance to be heroic. It only gives us countless, very small choices each day." Leopold whispered, "I have let small things slip by for too long." The old man suddenly asked, "Do you know why that boy in the village looked at you as if his eyes wanted to burn down the snowy sky?" Leopold choked up, "Because I killed his father." "No." The old man shook his head. "You did not kill him with your own hands. You only signed a sentence. You only said a few words. Crush the rebellion for me." He paused, then continued, "But to that child, is there really any difference between killing with your own hands and killing with your pen?" Leopold could not answer. The old man went on, slowly. "In the East, there was an enlightened one called the Buddha. Someone once asked him, 'What is the greatest good deed?' He answered, 'Begin with the smallest good deed and stop yourself even when an evil thought has only just arisen.'" Leopold murmured, "Do good, even if it is small. Do not do evil, even if it is small." The text you provided is exactly returned below, unchanged, exactly as you instructed. No additions, no removals, no explanations. The old man looked at the king without a crown before him. Some people are born to do great things, but the wise are those who know. Every great thing is woven from hundreds of small ones. If each small thing is stained with evil, then the final greatness is nothing but a vast, looming darkness. Then he stood, picking up his staff. "The night is long. I must keep walking." Leopold called out, "Old man, what must I do to atone for the small evils I have ignored?" The old man turned back, smiling gently. "A tree that has been cut cannot be reattached. But you can plant new trees, not just one tree, but an entire forest." Then he walked off into the night. Leopold shouted after him, "Who are you?" The old man's voice drifted back. "The one who sent you a book years ago, the one you left on a shelf." Leopold froze. Was this the very same Eastern ascetic the merchants had once spoken of, or just a dream in a snowy night? He did not know. He only knew that from that night on, this sentence seemed carved into his heart. Do good, even if it is small. Do not do evil, even if it is small. Upon returning to the capital, Leopold changed. At first, no one understood why. Why is His Majesty suddenly concerned that the kitchen shorted a guard's meal? Why is His Majesty ordering an investigation because a district official beat a peasant for spilling wine? Why is His Majesty establishing a complaint box for villagers to send in their grievances over tiny local matters? Leopold said to his chancellor, "Before, I only looked at maps, borders, troop numbers, and gold. Now I want to look at the smallest details in this kingdom." The old chancellor stammered, "But Your Majesty, you are the king. How can you manage everything?" Leopold smiled. "I won't do everything myself, but I will establish a new law. Any official who dismisses small matters and thereby causes great harm will be punished more severely than those who break the law itself." He ordered a full investigation of the southern region. The truth surfaced. Count Hermann was embezzling. He collected illegal taxes. He abused the villagers. All of this had long been labeled small issues not worth troubling the king. This time, Leopold personally decreed, confiscate Hermann's property, strip him of his title, and imprison him. Use his wealth to compensate the people. The Council of Nobles was in an uproar. "Your Majesty, doing this will unsettle the nobility." Leopold replied, "If they are disturbed because I punish small evils, then good. I want them to fear even the thought of doing wrong, no matter how small." He summoned the villagers who had lost their homes to the capital and apologized to them himself. "I am the king, yet I allowed small evils to grow into great disaster. I cannot bring back the dead, but I can begin to act rightly from today on, even if it is only through the smallest actions." This story spread throughout the kingdom. Gradually, minor officials grew afraid of petty corruption, knowing the king cared about every case. Soldiers grew afraid to beat commoners just to vent their temper, as the king would not tolerate it. Shopkeepers thought twice before cheating on the scales because the people now knew there was somewhere to turn. Not everyone changed overnight. But a new breeze blew through villages and cities alike. Far away from the southern region of the past, a boy grew up in poverty, the same child who had once spat on the snow. The year he heard that the king had punished Count Herman and apologized to the villagers, he stood for a long time at the village gate. Someone asked, "Do you still hate the king, child?" He whispered, "I don't know, but if he truly knows he was wrong, maybe my father, wherever he is, will be a little less sad." Years passed. Leopold's kingdom became stable, not only because the army was strong and fortresses were solid, but because the people believed that if they suffered an injustice, even a small one, their voices still had a chance of reaching the king. Officials slowly formed the habit of fearing to do wrong and growing used to doing right, even in the smallest things each day. One day, in his old age, Leopold sat alone in his study and took the dusty book down from the shelf. On the first page, the same lines remained. Do good, even if it is small. Do not do evil, even if it is small. He laughed softly. I let you gather dust for far too long. The elderly chancellor, who had served him for decades, entered and bowed. Your Majesty, what makes you smile? Leopold slowly asked, Do you remember how I once shouted at you, don't bring these petty matters to bother me? The chancellor blushed. I remember. Back then, I also thought small matters didn't matter. The king nodded. I once believed only great deeds could make a dynasty. But later I realized a dynasty does not collapse because of a single great mistake. It erodes, bit by bit, through small evils that king and court both choose to ignore. He placed his hand on the book. I never learned the name of the Eastern wanderer who sent this to me. But if there is another life, I'd like to meet him and say, I had to walk through a great deal of pain before truly understanding such a simple sentence. The chancellor bowed his head. Thanks to your Majesty, I too have learned that lesson. In these final days of my life, I only dare hope that I will not let any small wrong pass without speaking up. Ladies and gentlemen, King Leopold III in this story may be a fictional figure, but the lesson he went through is very real in our own lives. Not all of us are kings, but each of us is the king of a very small realm. The king of our own family, the king of our own room, the king of our tiny everyday decisions. Oh, today, did I say something that hurt someone? Oh, today, did I ignore a small injustice right before my eyes? Oh, today, did I do something kind even if no one knew, no one praised me? We often wait to do something big, give a huge charity donation, dramatically save someone in crisis, transform an entire community. But the teaching, do good even if it is small, do not do evil even if it is small, reminds us of something gentle yet profound. Every time we hold back from saying a cruel word, that is already a small good deed. Every time we pick up something someone dropped, that is a small good deed. Every time we refuse to join in speaking ill of someone who isn't present, that is a small good deed. And every time we say, it's nothing, just a small thing, to excuse something wrong, that is when a small evil is planted. Like the king in the story, if we look down on small things, then one day, looking back, we will see. Our entire life has been woven from countless tiny choices, each one either kind or unkind. Tonight, if your heart feels a little heavy because you've done something you're not proud of, or because you feel you haven't done anything big, please gently ask yourself, today, is there one very small good thing I can do? It might be as simple as sending a message to check on someone, apologizing for something you said yesterday, smiling at the street cleaner outside your alley. No historian will ever write it down. But in that moment, you are walking the same path the wise and awakened ones have pointed out, beginning from very small things so that you do not lose yourself in very great darkness.